Hey guys, if you haven't checked it out already, go on to Vice TV, either on Dish Network, DirecTV, YouTube. Go check out the new Dark Side of the Ring, New Jack. Just came on. It's if you haven't heard of Dark Side of the Ring, it's a show on Viceland. This is actually their second season. They already had a season before. I think it was about 6 episodes. I think this season is going to be like 12, 15 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, it takes another look at the wrestling industry. It talks about the actual real life drama and real life controversies that happen behind the scenes of wrestling. And they've done stories such as like Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. They've done stories on the Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, the Montreal Screwjob, Fabulous Moolah, the death of Bruiser Brody. So, it just takes a different look. It's a different concept. It's something fairly new, and it's, like I said, it's different than most things that we see, most documentaries or most, interviews that we see about these wrestlers. And I like the fact that it brings in the people that are actually close to the situation, not just, the reporters or the journalists that are talking about it, the actual real people that are close to it, the people that don't get any attention for, their input on, whatever controversy that the episode is talking about. But just got done, like I said, watching the New Jack episode. Great episode. Again, if you haven't gone, check it out. Check it out on Vice TV. They got it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure somebody will upload it if it hasn't already been live streamed by now. But yeah, the New Jack episode, man, it definitely shed some light on some of the stuff that New Jack did. If you haven't heard about New Jack, ECW legend, started off, I believe, in Smoky Mountain Wrestling and under Jim Cornette. Then he went to ECW under Paul Heyman. He's known for damn near killing people in the ring, like literally killing people in the ring. I mean, this mofo cut up a 17-year-old. He stabbed some guy, that was punching him in the face too hard. He threw a guy off a scaffold. But, a lot of times with New Jack, you hear all about the negative. You hear negative. And this story, although it definitely showed, it showed the negative, but it showed, I guess, in a different light, different type of interviews. I've seen New Jack's interviews. A lot of them are more shoot interviews where he's more harping, loud, talking, down to people. He's more so, talking shit, basically. But this one felt like a little bit more in-depth interview to where you actually got to know a little bit more in the mind of New Jack. And I'm pretty sure that's hard because nobody knows what in the world is going on in New Jack's mind. But in this one, he, sat down and he talked about his childhood. He talked about how his dad, stabbed his mom, and right in front of him while he was a child. Talked about how his mom had, had him in her arms and, shoots her in the leg. And I mean, he's like, this is before the age of 5. I mean, he said his dad passed away when he was 5. All this happened while he was a child. That's, so that's going to stick to you as a kid, and I can speak firsthand from that because, I literally watched my own grandmother pass away. So sometimes when you see things like that, you see death, as a child, that stuff sticks with you. And it does shape sometimes the person that you end up being. And it didn't help the fact that, like he said, he grew up poor or whatnot. I mean, hell, he robbed, he did stuff while he was a child. I think he said in 10th grade, he was robbing people and stuff. And then, talks about the drug use and everything. Definitely did a lot of coke. I mean, that man seemed to love him some damn coke. But, talked about all that and then talked about the mass transit incident. Got a little bit more insight on the mass transit incident. mass transit, I'm sorry, bro. If you're really 17 and you're trying to pass off as 21, that was your first mistake. Second mistake, you don't go to a vet and tell him what you're going to do to him. Or, hey, I want to do something, let me get some offense. Let me throw you through this. You just be humble that you're even in a ring with a vet, or that you're even in a ring with somebody with any stature. And you just, whatever they say, do, go. You just try to be the best at it with whatever you got. But they showed all that, and then they, like I said, they showed where he stabbed that guy. They said he stabbed him 16 times. I mean, he said 9, but shoot, you can't go punching people in the face. You can't go ask for a match with New Jack. He sit down and tell you what y'all gonna do, and then you just up and leave. Like, all right, fuck it. I'll do whatever the hell, whatever. Psh, bruh, you heard the stories. This is years after the mass transit incident. You heard the stories. Don't do that. Now, I mean, the Gypsy Joe situation, they talked about that. Yeah, he did beat the crap out of that old man. He definitely beat the crap out of that old man. And, not saying that that's right, but at the same time, like Jim Cornette said in the documentary, if 2 men go in the back and discuss that this is something that we're going to go out here and do, whatever else goes on out there in the ring, I mean, you've already agreed that you're both finna go out to the ring and you're both finna compete, you're both finna fight, you're both finna do whatever you're about to do. You've already left yourself open to that. Whatever happens, you just better hope that you're in there with another professional that's not going to try to fucking slit your throat or stab you multiple times because you punch him in the face. But, like I said, this whole dark side of the ring stuff, I mean, guys, go check it out. Watch all the videos. Like I said, I believe there's about 9 videos right now, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 8. Because I believe that Chris Benoit and the Eddie Guerrero one, which is kind of joint together. It's more so about Chris Benoit, but it does talk about Eddie and how, Eddie Guerrero's death, kind of helped cause the spiral of Chris Benoit. And, like I said, the other ones, again, they got like Bruiser Brody, they got the Montreal Screwjob, they got Randy Savage and Macho Man. I believe they're going to have like Road Warriors at some point. They're going to have the Brawl for All and all that, at some point. It's really nice to get more insight and more backstory from the people who lived these controversies, who, lived through all these struggles, who, had to deal with, I guess, the national media not understanding why this event happened. But, I guess you get to relive the event through the eyes of the people that were actually involved. So you maybe get a little bit of more insight, a little bit more knowledge of, why they did what they did, or, I don't know. It's a cool concept. I really admire, the creators and the people that made this concept, that made this show, that made this, this documentary series, because this is something that we haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen. Nothing to where it's like, this in depth, to where, I don't know. It's really intriguing. I mean, thousands and thousands of people have been watching this. I mean, again, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Again, it's on Vice TV. Find it on YouTube. You're going to find it on any of the Dish Network, DirecTV, whatever you got. I'm not sure if it's on Hulu and all that, but, you'll be able to find it. I mean, if you're a fan of wrestling, if you like, to hear the other side of wrestling, if you like to hear the other side of the story, if you like to hear, right now, a lot of people are quarantined. A lot of people are stuck in their homes. They, whether or not you have that essential job or not, you might be stuck in your home. If you're a wrestling fan like me, I mean, you're looking for other things to watch. I mean, because right now, empty arena shows can only do but so much. I mean, I'm sorry. I hate this empty arena show mess that's going on right now. AEW had it for a hot minute. I mean, to me, they had it for a hot minute. WWE did, okay, but between the two of them right now, I mean, there's not much more you can do with these empty arena shows. This is a nice little alternative because it, like I said, it just takes wrestling into a different zone, different category, different, it's more cinematic in a sense. And, it's really interesting. I love learning more about wrestling. I love going and listening to things that I've watched, back in the 90s and stuff. Like I said, I wasn't into wrestling when the Montreal Screwjob happened. I was like 3 or 4 when all that was going on. So, growing up, listening to stories, hearing it, and seeing like their version, Dark Side of the Ring's version of like the Montreal Screwjob, it's entirely different than some of the stories and shoot interviews and things that you see. Like, again, Dark Side of the Ring, it's a great show. It's like I said, it's painting a different picture of wrestling. And, like I said, if you guys haven't gone and checked it out, just go check it out. I'm not sure what the next episode is going to be. But, like I said, this past episode, New Jack, if you need an episode to start off with, honestly, if you need an episode to start off with, I suggest you start off with the Montreal Screwjob. Because that's one thing that I think any wrestling fan has heard of, whether or not they've read any of the story or just gone by what they've seen on WWE programming or, just random YouTube stuff. I think that the Montreal Screwjob, that's probably the best one to go check out. Just for starters. If not, I mean, you can check out the very first episode. I think the very first episode is the Macho Man Randy Savage one, Match Made in Heaven, if I'm not mistaken. That's the name of the episode. But, Montreal Screwjob, that's one of the good ones to start off with. Or, again, you can start off right now, with the season 2, which is starting off with Chris Benoit episode. That one's really deep. It's a 2-part episode. So, that one has a lot of information. You get to hear, from Chris Benoit's eldest son, the one that that WWE pretty much forgot about, that a lot of people forgot about, that's also an innocent victim, in the whole Chris Benoit stuff. You get to see, Nancy Benoit, her sister, and, you hear the story and you get to see what led up to that tragic event. And again, this past episode that just came on, New Jack, like I say, it's a good episode. It's a really good episode. New Jack is real. I felt a connection with New Jack. I felt a realness with New Jack. I felt it might be weird to say, but felt like that could be like a uncle, that chilling at the barbecue, that's talking all that shit, smoking in the back, playing cards. Like, that's how New Jack came across. And, I like the fact that it humanized him a little bit better. A lot of times you just, again, hear nothing about negative stuff about New Jack. And, again, it does talk about the negative. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. It does talk about the negative, but it does humanize him a little bit better. It shows a little bit more of a human side to him. And you just feel the realness. You feel the realness that comes from this man. And, again, like, shouts out to the producers, the creators. Chris Jericho narrates all the episodes this season. Shout out to anyone who had anything to do with Dark Side of the Ring. Like, I love the show. I'm going to go back and rewatch some more episodes because I'm doing a Wrestle Smoke podcast where I blaze, talk about wrestling, and I hope to learn a little bit more through these Dark Side of the Rings because I do want to do some review podcast shows about some of these episodes. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, guys, this has been your boy Alex. Again, go check out the Dark Side of the Ring. It's on Vice TV. Check it out. If you like the video or whatnot, give me a subscribe, give me a like, give me a comment. Let me know of any type of other videos or anything that you guys might want me to review. Like I said, I'm going to be starting my Wrestle Smoke podcast. I hope to have it up on that Podbean app and hopefully get it up to SoundCloud or, something, eventually. Just something to start off brand new, because I'm not necessarily under the quarantine thing. I honestly work 50, 60 hours a week, and this is still something extra that I want to do. I have my own clothing line, my own brand, the Dope Is Me brand, and, I'm going to be putting some of my shirts on as well for you guys to see. But, this is just another outlet. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of things that I just like to say, a lot of things that are in my mind that I like to get out. And, hopefully this Wrestle Smoke podcast that I'm trying to start, even if it only gets 10 listeners, hey, at least somebody's listening. But, again, guys, go check it out. Dark Side of the Ring, New Jack, and check you guys later. Peace.